This is episode 13 of my Hiking the Continental Divide Trail series, where we embark from Twin Lakes, Colorado to summit Mount Elbert, the state's highest peak, with its breathtaking views and challenging ascent. This epic journey presses through the Mount Massive Wilderness and the Holy Cross Wilderness areas, where we grapple with deep, unpredictable snowpack, pushing our limits across the rugged alpine terrain. Join us for a gripping tale of high-altitude adventure and relentless determination in Colorado's wild heart. Today's mission is to climb Mount Elbert. Mount Elbert is the highest mountain in Colorado. It's also the second highest mountain in the contiguous USA, the highest being Mount Whitney in the Sierra Nevada. The absolute highest peak in the USA is Mount McKinley or Denali up in Alaska. We left most of our gear at our base camp. Our packs are very light, which makes a nice change. So I am only carrying rain gear, food for today, and my down parka and pants in case something happens and it gets extremely cold. I hope nothing happens to my tent or belongings as they are left on their own. The worry is that some critter will chew a hole through the tent to get to the things inside. I've tied all my food up in a tree in the bear bag, so hopefully it will be all okay.
One of these two peaks is Mount Elbert. I'm not sure which one, but hopefully we'll find out.
Now climbed to 12,000 feet and the going has been okay. Only a few patches of snow, but mostly I've been able to walk around them. The trail is steep but not overly steep, and we continue to push our way higher. I'm probably about halfway at this point. One thing I have noticed is that above 12,000 feet I start to yawn a lot. I think this is obviously due to the thinner atmosphere and less oxygen. There's a lot of huffing and puffing and lots more stopping for rests. The climb entails about 4,400 feet of elevation gain over the course of about 4 miles or 7 kilometers.
I am at 14,100 feet roughly, about 300 more feet to go. How's the view? Crazy. I think that's the summit behind me. Not far to go now.
The summit is now in sight and I'm almost there. I can see 3 other people up there along with Chip Crusher. One last push and I'm up there joining them. It's a big high five with Chip Crusher for a job well done. As you can imagine, the views are the most spectacular, probably almost certainly the best on the CDT so far.
I am at the top of Mount Elbert, the second highest peak in the contiguous USA at 14,433 feet, I think. Anyway, Check my view out. How good is it? Got up here relatively snow-free. It was amazing. Clouds rolled in before, but they've cleared, which is great. And there's Twin Lakes back down behind me.
Chip Crusher is the master at finding a comfortable place to relax, even if it's lying amongst a bunch of rocks. From the southwest to the northwest, it is just sweeping, rocky, snow-covered mountains. The view out to the south looks back down on Twin Lakes and the massive reservoir beside them. I'm surprised at how I feel being up this high in elevation. There is no sense or change in how I am. My previous height was 12,600 feet and now I'm at 14,400 feet, a significant difference. It is magical up here. We take our time doing the obligatory photos and taking in the awesome views. Another quick 360 for you. Everyone's left the top of the mountain. Only me left. But I'm heading down now. We've been up here probably for a good 3/4 of an hour, I think. Pretty amazing view out there. This is a look back up to the top. The summit's just over the top of that rocky peak there that you can see over that snowy bit to the left and back up to the right. And if I swing around, show you the view, what it looks to be going down. It's a bit cold going down now, can't talk. Only patches of snow like this on the way up, so really lucky. And not so windy at the top either. A bit cloudy now, which is a shame because the light sort of changes. But that was a great experience. I lost the trail on the way down, trying to avoid a snowy section. This resulted in me having to go cross country through the deep snow in the trees and cut back up the hill a bit to get back on course. A bit annoying, but what do you do?
This guy wants to be a movie star, loves the camera, and now look, got another one coming. I have no trouble spotting the hanging bear bags in these aspen forests. Not much camouflage. Here's the sign to Mount Elbert, but you can see it's the northern route as opposed to the southern route which we just climbed. How's this for being at the very top of a ridge? I've just come from there. The trail forms a V and then heads down that way. Steep.
I made it back to base camp to find everything was in order. I quickly had my lunch and then it was time to pack everything up and head on up the trail. When I put my fully loaded backpack on, it is immediately apparent that I've been spoiled by climbing Mount Elbert with only the bare essentials. After I dumped all my snow gear, I was feeling how my pack was light again, but now my pack is feeling decidedly very heavy. This makes me recall how I felt the climb to the top of Mount Elbert really wasn't that difficult, but it was really just because I was not carrying any weight on my back, a significant difference. Back on the official CDT, the trail comes to the Mount Massive trailhead. Typically, I'm about to end the day with a climb of about 6 kilometres or 3.5 miles. Again with Colorado, it seems you're either going uphill or downhill, and that's just the way it is. The snow down the trail has been way worse than I thought it would be. It's been so deep and soft that it's made the trip downhill very slow going. I've now dropped down to 11,000 feet and I'm thinking, in fact hoping, that this will be the end of it. My feet, pants and socks are soaking wet. It feels like I'm wearing a pair of gumboots filled with water. But still, it's been a great day. The CDT can't let you have it all your own way.
That looks like the town of Leadville out there in the open. Hopefully we'll be there tomorrow.
I can tell by the unbroken snow on this trail that I'm the first person to be trekking through here lately. I am leaving some mighty big post holes for Chip Crusher. He's following some distance behind me. In fact, I'm not sure where he is. He was in front of me, but somehow I've passed him, so I'm sure he'll catch up tomorrow. And no, it isn't the end of the snow. It continues on unrelentingly. Even though I'm now at 10,500 feet, it still will not disappear. Of course, the snow is the worst kind at this time of the day. Wet, cold and deep. It makes my feet miserably cold. It's now 6:40 PM and just to put a real dampener on the day, it's now raining on me.
Not very happy feet after such an epic day. They're cold and miserably wet.
Today is going to be a tough day. The trail, almost from the word go, is snow covered. In the first 3 hours, I've only managed to do 3 miles or 5 kilometres. and the trail is getting progressively harder. It is all post-holing and the like. Tiptoeing across the snow, hoping you won't fall through. Falling over lots, frontwards, backwards, sideways. You name it, I'm doing it. I just cannot cover any kind of ground on this snow. It is just too inconsistent and too unpredictable. Add to all that, the trail is virtually invisible. Thankfully I have the gutter cap, otherwise I would be lost until the thaw came about.
The sign here says fish hatchery, and I just read that it was established in 1889 to supply trout for the sport fishing. I am back in the snow again, looking for a trail. This is how the trail taunts you. Right here we've got nice dirt trail. Right there, wet, deep, soft snow, hard work to get around or through. But to get around, you can maybe go through there, but then you got to deal with going up over the rocks, through the trees, your pack getting caught on the branches, go around the top, get to more dirt trail. But 10 meters on, you got the same dilemma again. This is a shout out to Stuart McKenzie. Been thinking about some words that you said a million years ago when we were bike riding, and that is, an attack always comes to an end. I've been thinking as I've been trudging through this snow, as it seems to be never ending, eventually things do get easier, the attack will fade and it will get better. So you just have to keep pushing on until it does, because eventually it will happen. Doesn't matter what you do, things will always get easier, just got to keep at it. I left the trail for a while, hoping this dirt road is going to be a bit easier. Started out being a dirt road, about 20 metres, now I'm back in the snow.
As the day continues, so does the snow. It is just unrelenting. It's cold, wet and soaking. Even my pants are soaked through from falling over and rolling around in the snow so often. Editor's note, try and stay upright a bit more often. But the post-holing is extreme in places. Sometimes it is just so hard to extract myself when I'm up to my waist in snow. When the snow is soft, there is nothing to push against to get myself up. Usually I have to roll out of the hole and try and get on all fours and then attempt to stand up from there.
Is this why they call Colorado the Rockies? I'm in the Holy Cross Wilderness. Got a slight reprieve from the snow. Hopefully it continues. Here's my campsite for tonight. Definitely the worst one I've picked so far, but it's a case of beggars can't be choosy. Got this bit of dry land in a sea of snow, as you can see, so I'm taking it while I can. 7 o'clock at night. What I'll do is I'll just try and put my food bag or something on one side of the sleeping mat to try and prop it up so I don't roll out one end of the tent and down into the snow in the night.
Well, I made it through the night, and while the sleeping pad ended up sliding around a bit through the night, it worked out okay. As I'm still dealing with the perennial problem of a leaking sleeping pad, it goes down about every 2 hours, it was just a matter of a quick rearrange every time I topped it up. Today I've got 10 miles or 16 k's to get to Tennessee Pass, where I will hitch into the historic mining town of Leadville.
How is this for a beautiful morning? It's a pretty critical day. I have to get to Leadville today. It's about 9.5 miles. I only managed to do 10 miles, 10.5 yesterday. I'm critically low on all my power. Food's okay. More importantly, I'm out of TP. That's a worry. But made an early start. We'll see how we go. I'm sure I'll be all right. Here's a look back from the high point from where I've come over. Huge mountains in the distance. Huge drop off just there. Not sure I'd be game enough to do the slide down that one. Might never be found again. I'm going across the face of this mountain, then I'll drop down a bit. Then I've got one more climb, and then hopefully it's mostly downhill to Leadville after that. I'm walking across this slope and I'm thinking, how good is this? It's nice and hard, making some ground. And then as I kept going, the slope got steeper and steeper. And all of a sudden I realised, gee, I could easily slide off and disappear down there. So I've retreated to higher ground to try and be a bit safer. It's funny when you're happy to be walking uphill. So often I hear these little animals squeaking at me, and finally I've seen one hiding in the rocks, sitting on his little perch there. I wonder if this is called the Holy Cross Wilderness to remind us what Jesus went through on the cross. After the last 2 days, I think I might have a little idea. I am finally out of the snow. Well, temporarily anyway. But what a 2 days. Unbelievable. 10 trail miles yesterday. Not sure what I'll get done today, about the same. But that snow, oh my god. Anyway, walking along just for a change. I wish I could film you to show you what it's like trying to crawl across the snow. Tiptoeing, just going so slow. Walking along the ground now, I realise you take actually walking for granted. But another 5 or 6 miles to Leadville, so we'll enjoy a nice rest there. I've followed lots of tracks through the patches of snow. This one's a coyote. But the interesting thing is whether it's elk, deer, coyote, they always basically show you the shortest way through. They think the same as us. Snow's hard work. They try and do it as little as possible. I know I've banged on and enough about the snow, but I just can't believe the difference in how you feel now that I'm walking back on solid ground in the forest. The snow is just... The hardest thing is when you fall in a hole and you've got nothing to push against. Everything just keeps giving way underneath you when you're trying to get up out of it. That's the killer. But the other thing is, we just take for granted being able to walk, movement in general. It's crazy. Like when you're on the snow, it's just one step, tiny step, always working. You know, you just feel the snow's working against you. You're waiting for it to disappear underneath you. Sometimes you're on top, next minute you're underneath. But we made it out this little section. I followed these blue arrows before. I think it was pointing me on the right trail. Clearly it wasn't, because it sent me off in a different direction. Not sure what they're for. They sort of tell a story. I'm just not sure what it is. I wonder if anyone does know. I've seen some paw prints, but those ones are massive. That's one mighty big cat. I forgot to tell the story of how I got my bloody lip. I was walking along and I went to wipe my nose on my sleeve. I know. My mother taught me better. It was one of those things had to be done. But when I brought the pole up like that, the end pole hit into a side of a tree and the pole goes bang, punched me right in the mouth. I got the shock of my life. Fun and games on trail. I could use a little rest right about now, but only got about half a mile to the highway where I'll hitch into Leadville. I was just thinking, when I'm walking along the undulating trail, I'm walking along fine, but the minute you hit these steep uphills, my legs have got not much left after the last 2 days. So I'm looking forward to a nice rest. That is the mountain range I came over a couple of days ago now. I'm not sure which pass I came over, but I came over the cross of one of those, then walked across the top of the ridge line and then down into the trees, as you can see.